Kane's vision is at hand. Unfortunately, GDI's orbital station, the Philadelphia, can stop the missile that will take us into the future. We must destroy the Philadelphia at all costs. The Philadelphia will require 3 orbits over this sector before it can locate our missile. You must get 3 ICBM launches into position before the Philadelphia's final orbit is complete. With the ICBMs in place, we can bring GDI's command station down. All this remains contingent, of course, on McNeil's helpfulness. You must pretend to pursue him back towards the GDI base. They will open the perimeter to let him in. Once he is in, he will deactivate the perimeter shortly thereafter.
Oh, welcome back, Commander. It's time. The final mission.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir.
Perimeter
Good
deactivated.
as done.
Commence.
Engineering.
Apparently nobody thinks it's weird that Jake McNeil, son of
Waiting order.
Mac, brother of Mac, is just like running around in the
Have arrived.
near Hammerfest, or at least the backwoods of Hammerfest.
Unit reporting.
Ah, whatever.
Awaiting orders. Awaiting orders.
Right off the bat, we're given
Awaiting orders.
the mission critical and unique unit, the ICBM launcher.
Yes, sir.
They're something you kind of need to keep protected, and
Unit reporting.
I don't think they do well in combat, although I don't think I've necessarily ever tried.
Unit reporting. Unit reporting. Sir. Orders received.
This is probably one of, if not the largest map as well, so
Sir.
you kind of need to space things out, and you've got a lot of area to cover.
Awaiting orders.
Building captured.
Consequently, this level is also a little more,
Building captured.
or a little less exciting because of it.
Unit reporting. Moving out. Unit reporting.
The fact that we only have $6,000 to play with, you don't really start with a great force, you capture a base, and there's not much action right away to begin with. It kind of just... it sets the tone, and not necessarily in a good way.
Unit reporting.
That being said, I shouldn't poop all over this level. I personally enjoy it. I like the intricacies of it and all the like optional stuff, I guess we'll see later on. And at least it's big enough to give you options, which is something that some of the levels, although not many, in general, the map makers did a really good job at giving you alternate paths, but sometimes you may feel a little bit more pulled into one specific direction or whatever to attack. And this map just feels so large that you never really have to worry about it.
Unit lost.
Sir.
Building.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, and yeah, GDI gets their ion cannon like super quick, which isn't a big deal considering, you know, we captured a Tiberium refinery and they blew it up. And like the briefing stated, after the capture of the codes, we get to use the ion cannon forever now. They'll never catch on, and as long as the eventual mission critical objective doesn't run out or die or whatever, you're fine. You can just keep using it, and honestly, you should really, at this point anyways, either have a really good idea of what you should target with an ion cannon, or heck, make a save and just start going nuts with investigation, or however you want to, you know, practice and experimental use and so on. As always, your best bet to ever explore the map, with Nod anyways, definitely use your stealth tank to some effect anyway. Again, there's a little bit of micromanaging you gotta do just because of the nature of this game and how old it is, but honestly, if you can get that down, you're pretty much fine. The AI does have a weird habit of knowing specifically where your stealth units are, and so position things to shoot at them, but aside from that, you should be fine.
Yes, sir. Moving out.
Oh, and also, slightly annoyingly, the ICBM launcher just gets deployed immediately upon reaching a certain, like within the beacon's like range or area. It's a little annoying, and I don't think we'll really get to see why. To be 100% honest, it's mainly just the fact that the ICBM launcher is a big unit, and sometimes it ends up being at an angle to the ground. I kind of just expected it to be able to deploy, kind of like a tic tank, and maybe just have like more defense that way or something. I don't know. Point is that that's not the case, and because you can't move it and will never come back under your control, at least not movable control, if you
Insufficient funds.
accidentally leave it out without any sort of protection, you're screwed. Because again, you can't move it. So, I don't know, keep a mobile repair vehicle around them, just in case. You never know. Honestly though, your best bet is really just to
Sir? Yes, sir.
get a bunch of artillery and prepare them to surround your ICBM launchers.
Unit reporting.
See, this is a really good example of the AI knowing where your units are, but not being able to cheat and shoot at them. I mean, theoretically they could, because they know where my stealth tank is right now. There's nothing denying that.
Unit reporting.
But they can't shoot at it because that would just break the game.
Iron cannon ready.
And they don't have an MSA or anything nearby.
Unit lost.
Alright, well,
Sir?
probably got too close or something. I don't know. I always forget if enemy units, I know they can gain veterancy, because why not? But I forget if they ever displays, and I kind of wonder if maybe there's a Titan or two out there that have that upgraded HP, or upgraded veterancy, and thus would be able to spot invisible units,
Construction.
because of the sensor package upgrade.
Deploying.
I don't think it's the case, but it's a little funny to think about anyways.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Building. Construction complete. Building. Unit ready. Unit lost. On hold. Building.
So, obviously, the cheapest way to really get some good intel and capture some stuff to eventually force the your opponent into a losing strategy, or just constantly squeeze them, is really just get an APC out,
Unit reporting. Yes, sir.
load it with some engineers. Even one is fine. Like, you don't need a lot. But the main goal is really just to force them to rebuild, and the AI is just not all that great at responding to subterranean threats.
Awaiting orders.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Loud and
Not having the ion cannon and not ever really putting its air force to good use just means that you're going to have an easier time at surviving anything that the GDI attempts to throw at you.
Building. Unit ready.
I'm probably being a little excessive with having, 6 harvesters up at the moment, or at least building a 6th one as well. You kind of need a steady flow, especially considering how far you have to eventually go to get to the Tiberium fields. But maybe that's just also me overcommitting to it. Sadly, I believe I mentioned it already, the multi-missile is very random. in how it processes. I don't want to say processes damage, but just in how it spreads out all the damage. And so you end up with a lot of cases where, sadly, you just can't do anything. Anyways, get yourself a ton of artillery, like a ton. Throw in some SAM sites here and there to prevent jump jet infantry, and you're pretty much just good to go to do whatever you want. You could purchase a bunch of infantry, you know, whatever, and you're, again, you never really have to worry about too much. So yeah, the multi-missile, just not all that great. Sadly, as well, there's no Tiberium veins anywhere, so the Tiberium missile, the thing that was kind of a mission objective at one point, it was, I don't want to say like super important or anything, but it was interesting.
Yes, sir.
Nah, just doesn't exist.
Moving out. On my way.
In this timeline, we're not allowed to use it, which I can understand, just because this is really close to like a main GDI base, so how could they possibly have something so devastating in the area? But also,
Construction complete.
they could have put that in. You know, I wouldn't have given them crap over it.
Deploying.
Unit lost.
Stand determined. Unit report. Awaiting orders. No problem.
Anyways, the real trick to these missions, if you ever get stuck, just capture their construction yard, and you're basically gonna win.
Building captured.
Also, because I have like 6 harvesters, you just flood. If you can afford it, just flood the area with obelisk of light. Oh, fun fact too. I never really thought about it or noticed it, but yeah, disruptors are kind of a very hard counter to the commando, the cyborg commando. So, you know, pay attention to that, I guess. It's a little important. Oh, and because I don't think that it applies specifically, the Firestorm defense that we captured a long time ago at the start of the map, you don't actually capture the control of all of the tiles as well, which kind of just sucks. It just means that you can't take advantage of the firewall defense or Firestorm defense right away.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
And because we don't have the tech center, we can't actually just, you know,
Yes, sir.
Structure sold.
buy more tiles.
Awaiting orders. Fire.
So the real smart thing to do is to,
Unit lost.
you know, sell it and get that like $2,000 or whatever. I forget how much it gives specifically, but just get that. It's better than what I was doing.
Structure sold. Iron cannon ready.
Engineering. No problem.
Select target. Unit ready.
Deploying.
Construction complete. Harvester under
Yes,
attack.
received. Moving out.
Cluster missile ready.
It's almost like those guys never had a chance.
Construction options. Building. Unit lost. Unit ready. On hold.
Engineering, no
Building.
problem. Yes, sir. Engineering,
Unit
no
lost.
problem.
Yeah, that might have been poorly timed.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Infantry reporting.
Unit lost.
Again, though, once you've captured the construction yard, you're basically putting the opponent on a timer. It is interesting to see that they actually use jump jet infantry, as opposed to me, who used to never do so. This also becomes particularly important because, again, there's a timer up there, and we've only had an hour, so don't expect to prolong it like the GDI side. They had the luxury of constantly delaying the end goal for 20, 30 minutes. Actually, it might have just been a complete reset. The point is that you're running a huge risk if you don't get a move on. Now, thankfully, if the AI decides not to shoot at certain units, all the better. And I'm trying to test something here because,
Cluster missile ready.
well, is there something after the ICBM launch? Like, once the ICBM makes it, is there anything else to it? Is there a secondary portion to this mission? Or is everything fine as long as it makes it to the beacon? I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Command.
Waiting order on my way.
Primary objective achieved. Incoming transmission.
And it seems like GDI also attempts to move away from him and doesn't target him, which is nice, but, you know, without knowing that, I was always kind of just sweating bullets.
Mission accomplished.
Peaceful, isn't it?
Good welcome, citizens. It is with the highest honor and the greatest joy that I bring you Cain.
This morning was the most glorious morning in the history of the Earth. Peace is upon us. A gift to every man, woman, and child from the Brotherhood of Nod. Victory. Not just for our people, but for our species. The time for questioning is over. Rising from our trenches, our bunkers, our factories, we must all now partake in the technology of peace. One purpose, one vision. Tiberium is the way and the life. Today the sun rises on a new world and a new people. The end is the beginning.
Alright, so that does it for the two main campaigns. I'll have special series of missions coming up after this video. And, well, not directly after. Anyways, whatever. Special set of missions afterwards, and then going into the Firestorm expansion. Firestorm, right? Anyways, thanks for watching.